Gobleki Tepe, Steps Towards an Objective Approach, Part 2. If you have not already done so, please watch Part 1. This is another similar theme that needs to be mentioned here. It may or may not be significant. Extending down the length of some of the stones are long arms, ending in 5 downturned fingers. Linda Howe interprets this as implying that there is a thumb and therefore 6 fingers. It makes reference to the Old Testament's six-fingered giants or Nephilim. She then looks to Urfaman, the oldest life-size statue of a man, about 6 feet tall, discovered at a nearby site of a similar age. The artwork is also uncannily similar. 5 fingers are downturned, implying an absent thumb, while the arms on the T-shaped pillar reach above the belt to the navel. Urfaman reaches lower. Extending from each of his hands is a testicle, although no phallus is visible. Given the obsidian stone-black eyes and no mouth, there is, in Linda Howe's view, something frightening about this statue. I am reminded of the imposing Easter Island figures. If I were an ancient maritime explorer who passed by Easter Island, I would surely continue on at sea. Or the many similar imposing statues such as the giants of De Monte Parma in Sardinia. Hugh Newman has pointed out that similar statues with hands meeting at the navel or genitals appear in megalithic cultures throughout the world. Schmidt distanced himself from the Urfaman figure, claiming it was inferior to the inferred humanoid T-shaped megaliths. While I would agree, since it is not from the site, I would only point out the similar themes as thought-provoking. 5. The bas-relief carvings on the pillars are precise, sophisticated, and layered. There are some three-dimensional figures as well. Most of the animals depicted are local fauna, but other carvings contain unrecognizable animals, insects, humanoids, and again, even beheaded humanoids. They are executed with a precision that does not reflect what we would imagine from a prehistoric stone carver whose available tool of choice would be flint, since this was well before metal tools. Are there other explanations that we need to look at? Another error or inconsistency is that Schmidt arrives at his assessment of the site by combining the 2 types of finds. 1. The megaliths, which are with their precisely carved artwork, and 2. The cruder limestone sculptures recovered, often damaged, from the fill of the site. These cruder pieces may have been made by individuals who did not make the megaliths. Indeed, there is nothing technically special about them. They may also have been made later, as dating is imprecise. Certainly little care was taken to preserve them. Our point is that the 2 types of findings should be clearly differentiated. 6. Also overlooked is the fact that megaliths have traditionally been constructed with astronomical alignments, such as the pyramids of Giza aligning with Orion's belt. Like later structures, Gobleki Tepe has a perfect north-south alignment and detects the equinoxes. It is oriented to the stars as well as the coordinates of significant earthly sites. There is nothing to suggest that the hunter-gatherers of 10,000 BC had this kind of knowledge. Alternative theorists have gone as far as to refer to the site as an ancient astronomical observatory. None of this is coincidental and must be considered as an aspect of the meaning of the site. Details of the so-called vulture stone have not received due consideration outside of alternative circles. The artwork on the side of the stone may point to a time when a comet hit Earth. One view has it that if we interpret the animals depicted on the stone as symbols outlining points of constellations and match their position in the night sky at the time using computer models, we can see that this points us to 10,950 BC. This is the time of the alleged comet impact and Younger Dryas event. 8. The site contains stylistically unique T-shaped megaliths with carvings arranged in several Stonehenge-like circles. I know of no other megaliths with this specific T-shape. Perhaps significantly, they may very well be the earliest as well. Later megaliths were not so finely crafted and did not contain carved figures, to my knowledge. Again, this is worth consideration. 9. No one knows why the site was buried. To say it was buried to be preserved is speculation, but it was undamaged. Maybe it was buried so that it would stay hidden. It was rediscovered by pure accident. Others have called it a time capsule of sorts. 10. Schmidt and traditional archaeology in general leave us very much wanting more information about the origin and meaning of the structure itself. To say that it is a place where rituals were performed ignores too many details we have just mentioned. Schmidt gives us a theory about Gobleki Tepe's socio-cultural effect and significance. Because the emphasis of the traditional paradigm used by archaeologists is on socio-cultural evolution, academics like Schmidt bypass significant details that would help inform us about the meaning of the site in favor of speculations about the role Gobleki Tepe has played in propelling human civilization forward. While this is important, we may then mistake hypothesized effect for meaning. A paradigm that is demonstrating little utility in explaining certain classes of phenomena is best abandoned as the wrong tool for the job. In an upcoming presentation, I will take this up again in advocating for a more multidisciplinary and eclectic approach. 11. Andrew Collins has remarked about the site's meaning as an ark in stone due to the varied animals depicted. Is the purpose of the site educational in the widest sense? Does it tell us something about ourselves and our place in the order of things on earth and to the stars? Third section, what are some of the conclusions we can draw? First, academia, wedded to its evolutionary paradigm, for better or worse, has not given credence to the thesis put forth by Graham Hancock and others that there must have been a transfer of technology. In other words, the evidence is strong here for some form of interventionism. There is strong evidence of, quote, sacred geometry and astronomical alignments employed in the construction at the site. Including this in the construction and layout of the site is well beyond the known capabilities of the hunter-gatherers of 10,000 BCE. Several traditional cultures throughout the world who have megalithic structures have accompanying legends of visitors. For example, in his Fingerprints of the Gods, Hancock gives us some accounts in Peruvian culture of Viracocha, a visiting god who taught ancient Peruvians how to live and build their society. One can see abundant evidence of advanced construction in the megalithic walls at Machu Picchu and other sites in Peru. 2. As Paul Devereaux has observed in megaliths in general, we project on the stones, quote, the past that we want. The Gobleki Tepe site is an inkblot of sorts. It is a collection of large, crafted stones arranged with an order and precision that reminds us of monuments or memorials. But 10,000 BCE was not a time of monuments, at least not that we know. The real meaning or meanings of Gobleki Tepe remains hidden behind the plethora of enigmatic images and configuration of the stones. There may be something hopeful in calling this arrangement of stark and otherworldly stones a, quote, cathedral on a hill. But it is incongruous with what we see. Is it just the past that we want? Perhaps Gobleki Tepe is unknowable to us, its purpose hidden forever in the minds of the builders. In conclusion, I would agree with Schmidt when he states in a 2004 article, Gobleki Tepe's, quote, unique architecture and the unexpected richness and complexity of animal symbolism at this early stage of the pre-pottery Neolithic period necessitates a more elaborate discussion of the possible functions of the areas defined by the decorated monoliths." End quote. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to our channel, Hiding History.